Feel that? You're comfortable, and it cost you nothing. Warmth just seeps out of the walls on its own. A jacket waits by the door, the fridge stays full for days. You never had to fight a single thing to earn it. Now picture every bit of that suddenly gone. Nothing but skin against a cold that kills. A freeze that could end you before you even woke. For your ancestors, this wasn't a rare disaster. It was ordinary life, stretched across whole ice ages. Winters so vast they buried continents in ice. Ice a mile deep pressed down on entire landmasses. A few exposed hours out there could be fatal. Yet generation after generation clawed through. You, breathing right now, are the receipt. Not one ancestor froze out before their turn came. So what exactly was their secret? How does a thin-skinned ape from the tropics outlast the harshest cold this planet can make? It may be the greatest survival run in our story. And we came far closer to losing than most realize. The deep freeze peaked roughly 26,000 to 19,000 years back. Glaciers blanketed Europe, Asia, and North America. Past the ice lay flat, exposed, endless tundra. Wind tore across it with nothing to slow it down. Whole seasons passed with barely a scrap to eat. And our bodies? Hopelessly wrong for it. We're tropical animals, still wired for warmth. No dense pelt, no seal's thick layer of blubber. We can't drop our pulse and doze through the season. Uncovered in that cold, you last hours, not days. Everything else out there came fully equipped. Mammoths wore fur and fat, bears slept the winter off. Reindeer simply wandered toward gentler ground. Humans had none of those gifts. By every logic, we should have vanished first. Frail body, wrong climate, terrible timing. But we carried a mind that could plan ahead. And hands that could make what our bodies lacked. Somehow, that barely squeaked us through. No single fix saved us, dozens of them stacked up. And it all begins with flame. People had tamed fire for an enormous stretch of time. Somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000 years. Come the deep freeze, fire had stopped being optional. It was survival itself, and they were experts. In Ukraine, diggers braced for crude little blazes. What they uncovered were engineered hearths. One had roared past 600 degrees Celsius. Low on wood, they fed the flames fat and bone. Fire warmed them, cooked meals, and toughened tools. Trouble is, flames stay put. Walk away and the cold pounces instantly. So people pulled off a trick no beast could copy. They stripped the warmth off other creatures. And wrapped it around themselves, hides on their backs. Bears were being skinned for fur 300,000 years ago. The butchery marks on the paw bones give it away. Right where you'd slice to peel a hide off clean. Those pelts became cloaks that shed wind and rain. Still, a loose skin bleeds heat at every gap. The answer showed up around 30,000 years ago. Small enough to seem trivial, the eyed needle. Just a splinter of bone or ivory, a hole bored through. One scientist ranks it among our greatest inventions. And that's honestly not much of a stretch. With a needle, stitching became possible. Snug garments, closed seams, cuffs sealed at the wrist. A draped blanket and a tailored coat are worlds apart. Our kind may have outdressed the Neanderthals. And that edge could have decided the worst stretch. And fur wasn't the end of it. Deer hide softened into mittens and rain-tight boots. Before heading out, hunters greased their skin with fat. That coating trapped warmth and shut out the wind. Crude, faintly gross, and genuinely effective. The bright snow hid a threat people forget. Light bouncing off the white can blind you. So they notched thin islets into strips of antler. And strapped them over their eyes to kill the glare. Call them the earliest eyewear, carved from bone. Drop the image of cavemen skulking in a cavern. The open steppe had no caves and hardly any timber. So they built with the one thing everywhere, mammoth bone. At a place called Medjugorje stood huts framed from giants. Skulls anchored the base, tusks and ribs arched the walls. The largest is roughly 18,000 years old. Reused by families across many generations. And their engineering was sneakier than it looks. The entrance sat below the sleeping floor. Heavy cold air drained in and pooled, harmless. They even turned snow into an ally. Odd as it sounds, packed snow holds heat beautifully. Thick snow walls keep a shelter near freezing, while the open air outside plunges to 30 below. And a cluster of trees kills most of the wind. Heat carries you through the night. But starvation is winter's patient killer. For months, almost nothing grew to gather. And prey turned painfully scarce. So they became masters of stockpiling early. A big kill wasn't a feast, it was a deposit. The freeze itself kept the meat for later. They smoked it, dried it into jerky, saved dried fruit. Pits and cool cellars guarded food all winter. Some sank meat in icy ponds, a natural fridge. Their hunting ran like a machine, too. Below a towering limestone cliff in eastern France. Crews combined flames and sheer coordination to drive herds. The same spot, over and over, for ages. Take plenty, dry it, bank it against the cold. Here's the part most of us overlook. These people saw winter coming. Their entire year bent toward getting ready. We're the ones a storm catches by surprise. They were simply never caught off guard. They also leaned hard on each other. Far more people shared one roof than we'd tolerate. Crammed on purpose into tight quarters. Bodies pressed close throw off real warmth. The ones living alone were first to freeze. Ice Age life was no peaceful idyll, though. With so little to share, it could turn savage. At times, people became the danger to other people. In the bleakest winters, the choices ran out. And survival dragged some toward the unthinkable. Later on, people found heat in livestock. Through cruel winters in Europe and Russia. Families moved cattle onto the ground floor. The animals' warmth drifted up to the room above. In effect, your heater was a herd of cows. Sometimes the cold reshaped the body itself. The Yaghan of far southern South America went nearly bare. In a climate that by rights should have killed them. Their metabolism ran hot, making heat from inside. And they crouched tight to hoard every degree. Then comes the wildest possibility of all. At a Spanish site nicknamed the Pit of Bones. Remains from 430,000 years ago look peculiar. Their growth marks stall and restart in yearly cycles. Just like animals that hibernate. Perhaps some humans did. It's far from settled, and experts still argue it. For ages, reaching spring was never guaranteed. Each winter was an exam you could fail fatally. Then, in a blink, bone huts became a thermostat. We won so completely we forgot there was ever a war.